Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight we are here at the famed Daytona International Speedway as the Hold Your Brakes XFINITY Series heads here for big old 65 lap race here for tonight, and a good sized field out here as well, as we're close to 30 drivers out here tonight. We'll see if we hit that 30 mark before we get into it, as drivers are out there qualifying right now. But you see the beautiful track here under the lights. You take a look at the infield there, part of the Rolex 24. But it doesn't matter if it's the road race at night here. It doesn't matter if it's the race on the big oval here. It's a beautiful track here under the lights, and really a lot of tracks here on iRacing look just amazing under the lights. And same goes for the for the paint schemes on all these cars out there. So make sure you're taking a look at them out there, as I'm pretty sure some of the drivers out there repping a little bit of American flair out there for the holiday weekend this past weekend. And happy belated 4th of July to everyone out there. Hopefully you had a fun, safe holiday and ready for some racing action here tonight. Carl Lambert joining the booth by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, back here at Daytona for some super speedway action.
Yeah, super speedway action. I know a lot of people really enjoy it, and I don't know if they enjoy it as much as they just have the opportunity and the chance to win. And it could be anybody. A little bit of luck, a little bit of talent, a little bit of both of those put together, and you can find yourself with a win here at Daytona. I know a lot of drivers get their first wins at super speedways, not only in iRacing but in real life. So it's just one of those milestones. The drivers like to come here and test their patience and drafting skills and trying to hold their own line. But we're out here for 65 laps. It's going to be a decent length of a race. Hopefully they're able to get to that point and for that green flag pit stop, and then obviously pit entry will become a big one. But we all know that super speedways tend to make one little mistake into a huge mess somewhere on the track. So we'll see who will come away the winner here tonight. But as of right now, it looks like Joshua King is sitting on the provisional pole here for the start.
Yeah, and you kind of hit the nail on the head with a big key word there, and that is patience. I know the name of the league here, Hold Your Brakes Academy, but it's going to be Hold Your Patience here tonight, because even though it's a 65-lap race, really, the first 60 laps should be a throwaway. The first 60 laps should just be, let's get to the last 5 laps of the race. That's really when it all comes to a head. And realistically, we've seen more often than not, I mean, you can go from the back to the front in a lap or two. So even if you're marred back there in 20th or further back, with 5 laps to go, you still get a shot at the win because of the draft and how powerful it is, and especially the side draft, depending on how you get your way up there. So really, it's just been the first 60 laps just trying to survive. It doesn't matter if you're up there leading, doesn't matter where you're at in the field. Just find a comfort zone, cruise for a little bit, get to that pit stop. That's inevitably going to happen there. They're going to have at least one pit stop here just for fuel purposes. Tire wear isn't necessarily an issue, but if you do run these cars for 20-30 laps, and you come in and take newer tires, you'll feel that it does feel a little bit more sticky. It feels like it does attach to the track a little bit more. Not that you're worried about burning up your tires or wearing them out or anything like that, but they do feel a little bit more comfy once we get to the actual race. We'll take a look. Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of our starting order here tonight, and then we're going to bring in our pre-race reporter here.
All right, quick rundown of tonight's race. Joshua King will start on the pole here, with Tiffany Ellis on the outside, Tyler Edmondson in third, Jarrett Barton in fourth, Robbie Minor and Drafty Beef, excuse me. That's all been up holiday weekend. Row number 3, row number 4, Aaron Genske with Thomas Osborne, row number 5, Ryan Perrone with Matt Ulmer. Row number 6, Andrew Jones and Rob Higgs, Zach White and Robert White on row number 7, row number 8, Kelly Akron and Joe Thomas, row number 9, Bryson Anderson and Timothy Presley, and then the rest of the field here will be on starting with row number 10, Don King and Robert Altman, Tristan Miner and Jeremy Gill, and then Quinn McLean, Shane King, Sean McLean, Matt Bryant, William Martin. So it looks like all the drivers did get a time in, with the exception of Steve Harrison, but it's not a real big deal breaker starting from the back here. It's just you need to be mindful of any incidents and work your way up methodically and patiently.
We'll bring in our pre-race reporter here now, and that is going to be Kelly Akron, driver of the number 19. And Kelly, first of all, you qualify up there in the top 15. We'll get to that here in a second. I know you guys are out there pacing and getting ready to start this thing, but Daytona, got to ask you, first of all, you picked the Daytona night race for your sponsored race here tonight. What makes you want to get out here at Daytona?
It's always been one of my favorite tracks here in Talladega. I'm gotten fairly decent at super speedways.
So you also you picked this this time of the year here with the holiday weekend this past weekend, and I see a lot of the drivers out there repping the American flags and some red, white, blue paint schemes. See you have one out there as well. Anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to in regards to the paint scheme or anything else before we let you get out to the race here?
As far as the paint scheme, no. This is a paint I made. But I do want to shout out my team, Mid-Tier Racing, and Shane for hosting the league.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll let you get to it. I know you're ready and amped up to get going out here. Hopefully, you can survive Daytona and get yourself a good finish. But if we get any cautions, maybe we'll try and bring you in and just kind of get a word from you, see how the race is going so far. But either way, good luck out there.
This sounds good. Thank you.
That is the driver of the 19, Kelly Akron, as we're getting ready to get going here. And this is going to be interesting here. There's quite a bit of cars here as we come to the green flag. Barney's getting ready, and we are racing here at Daytona. A lot of great-looking cars out there tonight. The 17 on the inside there gets a good jump. But, Jimmy, we've said it before, if there's ever tracks that you don't really want to get a good jump, it's here at these super speedways.
Yeah, it's not a very good track to get a huge jump. You find yourself more likely or not getting kind of ran over by the momentum of the other drivers. So it's definitely something that you have to be careful with, and that comes with experience. And as excited as everybody wants to get going here and have a great race, it's just it is about patience. It is about being able to just kind of take your time and let the car do what it needs to do. It's also a track where you think you can just keep your foot to the floor, but there is times while you're in the race, especially while you head into the corner, just a slight lift. And I'm not talking much of one. I'm talking like maybe 5%. That way the car doesn't drift up into like the next lane or a half a lane up, which can cause issues if you're starting to run 3 wide. But we're gonna stay 2 wide here for the first lap, and everything is kosher here. Joshua King is out front, down there on the inside, being led by Joshua King, Jarrett Martin and Tiffany Ellis battling it out there. Got Tiffany behind Joshua. Yep, a lot of names are going to swap around a lot here tonight, as these races do at the super speedways. Sometimes it's hard to kind of see where everybody's at, but the thing is, the ticker's up the top there to see where your favorite driver's at. I will bring up the tower here every now and then to kind of give you an idea where your favorite driver may be, like so. And I will change that best time to let's see, a car number, and we'll show the gap there for everybody, and we'll get rid of that third row there. But definitely things will mix around. Obviously, if you see red on their name, they probably dropped, and then if you see green, they're usually moving up a spot. So you're gonna see that tower flip-flop around a lot here, as that the whole field is only separated by about 2 seconds. With the exception of Gil, it's lingering behind. I guess we could see that if we pull up our track map here. You see that 29 just in the back there, just within towing range. So playing it safe for Jeremy Gill.
Yeah, that's certainly not a bad move at all to hang back there. And typically what we'll see here is we have drivers that like to be at the front, like to try and get out there, get that clean air, and hope that, you know, if any incidents happen, it's not happening to them. It'll be well behind them. You got drivers that like to drop down to the apron and kind of fall back to the back and maybe you know, just grab 2, 3, 4 other drivers and kind of hang out all the way in the back so they have enough time to break and get out of any kind of incidents if they do happen. And then you got the ones that I like to call insane, or, you know, put any kind of other description on there. The ones that just don't mind being in the middle of all the chaos, and that's really what it is. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in the inside line, outside line. It's just it can be scary. It can be overwhelming. It can be not so much fun if you don't want to be there for some of these drivers. You know, from anywhere from 6th all the way back to, you know, the 25th. But I mean, it's been too wide for quite some time. The one thing it's kind of funny about Daytona is, you know, we were at Pocono last night with 191 Motorsports, and we talked about, you know, how that is clearly a different type of 2.5 mile, you know, 3-turn oval up there in the Pocono Mountains. But really, when you look at Daytona and Talladega, I know they're both super speedways. I know they both, you know, are flat out high banking and everything like that. But there's a lot of differences, and I think the biggest difference, especially for these newer drivers here, is the width of the track. And, you know, you see here, these drivers have been too wide pretty much this entire race here. Still room, you can go 3 wide, but going 3 wide here at Daytona compared to Talladega, it just feels so much more restricted. It feels like there's very little room.
And talk about a little bit of 3 wide back here, trying to catch who that is. But you can see it's the 52. William Martin's kind of stuck in the middle and finds his way, you know, backing out just a little bit, going back to 2 wide. So a lot of shuffling around. The drivers are starting to get runs off of the corners and just trying to, you know, not get involved in anything. And that's why you're seeing a lot of drivers shuffling around. Oh, but we're gonna have one here as we get some cars sideways. 52 getting involved there up on the upper side. Not too bad there, but we'll go back and we'll check out the incident here on lap number 6. You can see right there.
Not sure what sent the one down onto the apron there. May have to go back a little bit, but I seen the one down on the apron. And it's one thing you cannot do is you cannot get down, and it looks like maybe getting into the corner a little bit too hot, gets into the back of the 53 of Robbie Minor. But then Presley goes down just a little bit. You get on that apron, and it's a big difference in the banking from the track to that apron, and it really upset the car. Looks like he got into 53, maybe try to check up a little bit. They both got down there. Looks like the 53 just kind of touched the apron a little bit, but the 115 was right there. Didn't really give the one too much room to come back up on the track, and then as the one's trying to save it, looks like. Not sure who that was. I don't see a number on the side of the car there. But the one comes up, collects the 70, and looks like 4 or 5 other cars involved. Not necessarily what we consider the big one here at Daytona, as it looks like maybe 5, 6 cars involved. But for the most part, a lot of these drivers did a good job at navigating, getting around, using the using the grass to get around if they need to. And, you know, going up high, you see a little bit of a late collision there with the... Not sure if that's the 94 there coming in of Robert Altman. Really no place to go for him, as the Ninja Turtles a little bit wrinkled up there on the front end. But either way, we'll see our first caution here, and be interesting to see if we see some pit stops here, because again, these drivers only need to make 1 pit stop for fuel, but wouldn't doubt it if we see them come in and maybe just top off a little bit, maybe get some fresh tires. Certainly some drivers getting some repairs done. Yeah,
tires not a huge issue here at Daytona, but I can see somebody coming in for fuel. I did get out there, get a chance. These drivers are running on a 75% fuel tank. That should net them right around 50-55 laps, Carl. And that was solo, so that's not 100% accurate. So maybe with some drafting, you might be able to find somebody that could stretch it the entirety of the race. So we'll see how these drivers kind of go from there. But out front right now is going to be the 14 of Rob Hicks Jr. with Drafty Beef in second, Robert White, Jarrett Martin, George Ledesma there for your top 5.
Well, I think the big thing too is that these drivers do have 2 faster pairs, but at a track like Daytona, Those can go by very quickly. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can get caught in two incidents very, very quickly. You've seen already some drivers having to take a fast repair on this one, and we're only on lap number 8 right now, so we're quite a ways away from anything resembling the end of this race. So you need to be smart when it comes to taking it. But if you have any kind of damage here at Daytona, you almost kind of have to take it unless you think the pit crew can get to work and get that thing 95% or more repaired, because if you're not at least 95% repaired, you're not going to be able to hang on to the draft, and it's going to be a long race, and you're going to be hoping that a caution comes out just so you can get back in there and actually take your fast repair, because when you're off pace here and you just see the field slowly slipping away from you, man, it's a crappy feeling.
It's probably the worst feeling, especially at a super speedway. I mean, you just watch them pull away. And the difference, by yourself and in the pack, it only takes about 10 to 15 laps, and they can lap you. So that's one thing that you don't want to lose here at Daytona is the draft. I know a lot of drivers would like to tend to kind of lay back just a little bit, but you can't lay back too far. You have to stay within that draft window. But some of the drivers towards the back definitely had to maneuver to avoid getting wrapped up in that one, maybe not having to use a fast repair. I mean, we're almost 10 laps in, so a good part of the race is gone already, but still plenty of racing remaining, and plenty of time to need or want to use them fast repairs maybe towards the end. And that's why I think all the drivers are definitely waiting towards the end. They have that opportunity to possibly get a win here tonight, and it's a big one, and a lot of drivers, it's a good feeling to win, and you get that chance and that opportunity to get your car there. You just have to make it there. You have to survive the Daytona. I don't know how. And I do know they have the special events as far as like the Daytona 500 and in this race, and drivers get out there, and just how easy it is to get collected in the big one. I don't know how drivers survive sometimes. So it's going to be a good one here, though. We're at 9 laps in right now. We're on the 9th lap, getting ready to go back to green. The lights are off on the pace cars. They're coming out of turn number 4 right now, down that tri-oval in the front here. And they're just waiting to get going. But that pacer car will come in, and then they have to go about halfway down before they start.
And we have had 3 races so far. If you're just joining us, Homestead started off the year with Jeremy Gill getting the win. Bristol, Timothy Presley was the one that survived and got the win there. And then Matthew Ulmer getting the win at a very rough and tumbled Rockingham. So we'll see if we get a 4th different winner here tonight at Daytona. Again, plenty of drivers out there. Looks like we only have 28 cars left in the field. Not sure if Sean McLean actually got any laps in. Looks like maybe did come in and get some laps in, but still in pit lane right now, as Rob Higgs Jr. is your new leader. You got Robert White right behind in second. A couple nice little chrome cars right there at the front with the 14 and 69, but the 44 of Jorge Ledesma up 16 positions, looking to make it 18 and getting all the way to the front.
Yeah, and just right spot, right time. He was able to get by the incident, and now try to use that outside, get some clean air there, and hopefully get a decent push from the 2 Drafty Beef, try to get him to the front. And we'll see if the 44 can make his way to the front there, and then maybe we'll see him drop down to the bottom like they normally do. But you never know. The 44 might like the high side here and stay up there with Drafty Beef and try to run away with this thing. But nobody's going anywhere. The draft is just too powerful, too strong. So like to pull away is just not going to happen here. It never does, and that's just sometimes you kind of wonder why people will try a little bit too much or too hard to really get their car out to the front here early on. And maybe it's for a point or something for the series to lead a lap, or get out there and maybe get the fastest lap or something. But definitely,
and we do have an incident back there, and I was kind of waiting for it to happen. I seen our in-race reporter Kelly Akron blinking pretty badly for the last lap and a half there, and unfortunately I think that may end up being one of the causes of the caution here. I've seen a couple drivers blinking, and did see that Sean McLean is back out there. He actually dropped due to packet loss, so he kind of blinked and dropped out of this race. He's back in it right now, but you see right there the 57 of I believe, yeah, I think it just maybe has a different number on there, but I believe that was Kelly Akron getting up into the wall and then down into
Kelly Akron.
Matt. Oh no, actually, there we go. Just almost the same kind of paint scheme there, but yeah, it was the 57 that I did see blinking, and that was Thomas Osborne, and gets up into the wall, collects a 51, and some pretty heavy impact for them here. But you see right there, just a little bit of a blink, and I'm sure lost kind of track of where he was on the track. The one, unfortunately, it looks like no help right now tonight for Timothy Presley. He gets involved in this one. The 77 involved. The 115 looks like somehow maybe net codes and goes through, and didn't get contact there. The 41 there you see involved. The 216, Joe Thomas just gets around. The 3 again. Just gets around. Andrew Jones being nice and lucky here tonight. The 51 though, and the 60 coming in there late, and this maybe goes back to the name of the league here. You got to hold your brakes, even if you're not in the wreck here. If you see something happening in front, it's not a chance for you to go pick up positions. It's a chance for you to just whoa up, keep your car clean. I know you're worried about everybody behind you, but it's best to just kind of get off that gas, get off the track if you can, if you need to, whoa up a little bit. Don't try and be a hero. Just get your way around that incident and live to see another day.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that. I think everybody knows that, Carl, but everybody's waiting for the Days of Thunder moment to just, drop the hammer and drive through
Go for the smoke.
To go through the smoke, right? So, but the fast repair is being used here on lap 13, whether it's your first one or second one. But some drivers coming down in. I'll go ahead and pull up the tower here to see who's elected the pit so far. So all the way back in P14, Aaron Genske was back there. He was back in lap 6. So some of those drivers that came in during the first incident are starting to make their way up to mid-pack. And then you have a chunk of drivers that were in 11 and 12. So those drivers there should be, actually, Carl, I wouldn't mistake if they can keep things clean and work their way through the field, they should be good to the end of the race.
Yeah, it's just, if you decide to go that far, again, tires don't necessarily mean much here at Daytona, but you do feel a difference. And, when you get late in the race and you're trying to make that one quick decision, that one quick move, it's nice to know that you got fresh rubber on the car to make that move, and you're not worried about anything getting a little bit too squirrely on you. But it looks like everything is still chugging along here. A couple incidents here, nothing big that we would consider the big one at Daytona. We'll try and pull Kelly Akron in here and see how his race has been going so far. And Kelly, we got you up here in the booth. Second caution for you guys here tonight. I thought it was actually you blinking there. A pretty similar paint scheme on the 57. So good to see that you're not blinking and you're up there in the top 5. So pretty good race so far for you.
Yeah, just patience. I got teammates in front of me, so P1, P3, so we're good there.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of the main word that we talked about even in the broadcast before the race is you got to have patience. I mean, this thing is 65 laps long, but really you only got to worry about those last 5 laps.
Yep, that's one thing I've learned at super speedways. Last 10 laps is where you want to be up front, and I've learned a lot of patience.
Well, so far that patience has got you up here to the top 5, so don't want to jinx you, don't want to show you on camera too much and give you the broadcaster's curse here or anything, but so far so good. Keep that 19 chugging, and hopefully we'll talk to you at the end of the race.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate you.
That is the driver of the 19, Kelly Akron again, your in-race reporter, pre-race reporter, and race sponsor here tonight as he decided to pick Daytona here under the lights for the Patriot 150. It's going to be $15 to the winner of the race here tonight, as well as 15 going towards the championship. So thank you to Kelly for his sponsorship here tonight, as this is, again, race number 4. We still got plenty of racing here in the schedule as well, not even halfway through this season. And I don't want to look ahead. I don't like looking ahead, but I'll be damned if I can't look ahead. Jimmy, we got Michigan next week, baby.
I mean, there's nothing better than a Michigan race. I mean, we love Michigan. Michigan's just one of those tracks that we talk about all the time. And I think between the 2-mile tracks, I think if we just had a series based on those, the broadcasting and racing would just be absolutely insane. And I think drivers might get sick of those tracks, but I sure wouldn't.
I won't. As long as we keep broadcasting here, I'm not going to get sick of Michigan or Auto Club. But we're getting back to green flag racing here, and everyone back on the loud pedal. Rob Higgs Jr. leads them across the line here. Got Robert White right behind him. Looks like Kelly Akron trying to stick with them on that inside. Jorge Ledesma Jr. on the outside, but riding on board here with Kelly Akron, and now hopping out here. You see a pretty good start here from the top 5, but that's not going to last. The rest of the field is going to reel them in, I'm sure, pretty quickly here. You see Tiffany Ellis in the 87 right there in that line in 6th place, and already starting to reel these drivers back in here. And it's been a pretty good one here. We've seen a lot of 2-wide action, and I kind of thought this would even out here a little bit and maybe go a little bit more single file, but I don't think they're doing that bad of a job 2 wide. I mean, this last caution really all due to a little bit of blinking out a little bit of net code, and other than that, it's been pretty clean out here.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job. I know a lot of these drivers are fairly new to the service, or fairly new to racing on a regular basis with each other, and they're out here to learn. And this is one of the parts of ovals that I know a lot of drivers like to do, and you see it on the schedule. You're like, oh, Daytona. Who doesn't love Daytona? I mean, if you're a NASCAR fan, you want to drive at Daytona, but when you get in the officials, it's sometimes just 100% chaos. By now we've had 2 cautions, but the fact that it's people that you drive around each week, can find yourself to the point of just getting better and learning how each other drives. And we're looking at maybe a 3-wide there in the beginning, up front, but the 44 decides to just tuck down behind the 19. Kelly Akron trying to move it up front, so just trying to look maybe a good push from the 44. That's another skill that takes time between drivers to kind of get that being able to do it correctly, without being pushed by the guy behind the lead, whoever's leading that row, because you don't ever want to push the pusher. It just becomes a nightmare. Tucked up underneath, yes, pushing another car is just definitely room for disaster. So, but right now they are 2 wide pretty much throughout the field here. A little bit of bobbling back and forth, and it could just be some drivers looking to maybe poke out a little bit to get some clean air on the front of their vehicles so they don't get them too hot, because we haven't seen it yet, but sometimes these cars can overheat by being tucked up so close behind one another.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing in these races, especially this one. They got enough fuel in here that fuel shouldn't be an issue. Maybe they'll have to make 1 pit stop before this thing is over if they haven't already. But the leader out there is doing all the work. They're the ones that's pushing all the air out there, and they could be using up the most amount of fuel. But for the drivers that are behind, like Jimmy said, you want to be back there. You want to be pushing your the driver in front of you, so your line stays up there, stays running good. But you get tucked up there for too long and you don't get that clean air on the front. You're going to be getting some good fuel mileage by being tucked in behind, but fuel's not going to matter if you blow that car up. So you do have to keep an eye on your gauges, your oil pressure, and your water pressure to see if you need to dip out here a little bit, or maybe even talk to that driver if you're in communications with them and say, hey, can we swap coming up here on the back stretch, or whatever it may be. But that is gonna be an incident on the back. It was a bad push, and that may end up being the big one here at Daytona. Quite a few cars taken to the grass. Looks like a lot of the cars kind of washed down onto the grass, so maybe getting a little lucky for the cars towards the back, not getting involved here, but you've seen it about to happen there. You've seen it from quite a distance away, a little bit of a bad push to the back of the 19, and really sent everybody for a bit of a ride.
Yeah, and you can just watch here from the 44 here as they're going down into the corner, and just a really good run, and obviously trying to maybe push the 19 up to the front, but in the corners, you as much as you want to try to continue to push the car, you have to be very careful, or the car will end up getting super loose and end up trying. It's very hard to catch. So it's kind of what's going on here. The 44, maybe just a really good run, trying to push the 19, gets off center from the rear bumper. And ends up turning. Let's see if I can change this a little bit. Let's go to, dang it. Before it happens here.
That's probably, unfortunately, probably the best camera right there, and you can see right there the push to the side, and even if you do catch the bumpers, right in the middle, if that car in front was drifting down the track or drifting up, it's even though it's center to center, it's still going to swipe that car one way or the other. So that's why bump drafting, it can be fun, and it can be done, if it's done 100% the right way. But this is what happens when you just make one little mistake. Luckily for Kelly, did keep that thing on the ground, and it looked for a second there was going to roll over. Quite a few cars involved in this one. Again, I don't want to say this is necessarily the big one. There's a lot of cars driving through the grass there you see on the screen. But I think in regards to cars being involved, really not too many, maybe 3, 4, 5 cars involved in this one. But this is going to bring us under another caution. Quite a few drivers coming into the pits this time. Looks like only 3 cars, maybe 4, for the entire race here tonight have yet to come in the pits. That's the top 3 right now. Drafty Beef, Jared Martin, Brian Anderson, and then back towards the back of the pack, Rob Higgs Jr. in the 14 has yet to come into the pits, but quite a few in and working their way out for this pit stop here on lap number 21.
Yeah, getting down to the majority of all drivers, actually coming in, like you said, just a few that have not decided to come in, and obviously those are the 3 that are up front. Drafty Beef, Jarrett Martin, and Bryson Anderson all deciding to stay out, to continue to stay out here as they're up front. And a lot of times, can't say all the time, but most of the time, the cars up front are usually the ones that are able to scathe free of the incidents. And I think that's one of the main reasons people tend to try to get up to the front, so they're not there's less cars that they have to dodge or dip or dive from. But we're gonna go ahead, and obviously we're gonna see these drivers get back up. We're at lap 21 now, so we're working on lap number 21 of the 65. So still down to still got about 44 laps remaining here until the end. So about a third of the way through here for tonight's race, and obviously doing a pretty decent job. A lot of drivers, I'm sure they're learning a lot, and like I said, just one bad little push can mix things all up. And as you've seen some of those drivers coming down. Callie Akron, not a big hit, but gets the car fixed. Goes from being up there and second on the outside to back here in P17. So a little bit of moving around. Now it just has to work their way back to the field, and obviously be mindful, because probably only one fast repair remaining for that number 19.
Yeah, and I mean, you could take a stab at blaming that one on us, blaming that on the broadcaster's curse, since we talked to Kelly and see him up there in the top 5. But I'm going to go ahead and blame this as the commenter curse, as Barry just picked the 19 not too long after we talked about the 19. So I'm going to blame this incident here on Barry. We're just going to throw Barry out. Yeah, exactly. It's a fan's curse. Blame this one on Barry out there. So we'll see if Kelly can work his way back up there through the field. But at the front, again, it's going to be Drafty Beef, Jared Martin, Brian Anderson, Joe Thomas, and Robert Altman for your top 5. Then Timothy Presley, Matt Bryant, Steve Harrison, Don King, and William Martin for your top 10. But still got plenty of cars out there running. Looks like we still got 28 cars in the running Not sure if the 57 of Thomas Osborne is going to get back out there. I know he was blinking quite a bit early. Maybe that's why he's maybe deciding to stay out of this one here tonight. But we'll see how these drivers take to the green flag here again. We're about a third of the way through this race, so at least we clicked the third of this one done, and we'll see what the last 2/3 have in store. But really, it's those last 3 laps that we all kind of wait and hold our breath for, to see who's up there, who's making their moves, who's going to survive, and if we get it done under green, if this thing goes to green, white, checkered.
Yeah, I have high hopes that they can make it green the rest of the way, but we know how finicky this track can really be as they line up here again. And on board here with Zach White in the 77 royalty machine to see their restart, and kind of just hanging back, trying to make sure he's in the right position that iRacing's telling him. It is hard sometimes to get in the right spot before that green flag, as it is a longer track. But you can see a little bit of damage on the back of the 22. Obviously, maybe waiting for later in the race to take that faster pair. So watch out for the 22. A little bit of strategy here. Obviously, maybe the car is not tip-top shape. Just a little bit of damage on the rear, but hopefully he can still draft well. And you see people coming down off that inside. That's a 4 of Jeremy Gill going down to the inside, letting everybody kind of go by.
And I think that was a blown engine for the 4. I seen him go down on the apron, thought he was going to let people by, and then all of a sudden, about maybe 100 feet past him going down on the apron, I seen some smoke fly out the back of that 4. So that could be a big turn of events here for Jeremy Gill, as he was certainly looking for another good run here tonight. But that is going to be a long way back to the pit lane. If he can limp that thing back, it looks like he may be able to coming off the final corner. But out front, battle still side by side with Drafty Beef and Jarrett Martin. Beef in the 2 on the inside, the 00 of Martin on the outside, and it's getting a little bit rough and tumbly there. Not sure who got sent through the grass. Looks like the 7 there, Brian Anderson, gonna save it. And it's a shame he was riding up there. And I was just about to mention, it's a good looking Mobil 1, number 7 right there. I do like the paint scheme on there. Not sure if that is a custom job, if that's a throwback. I don't remember seeing that one before, but I do like the red, white, and blue action on that one. Unfortunately, he's going to have a rough ride to get back up there with the field if he can. Looks like going to bring that thing into the pits. But out front now, again, it is still the 2 on the inside. But remember that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles machine of Robert Altman getting involved in an incident earlier? He's got that thing all repaired back up, and he's got a 2nd in line on the inside.
Yeah, and just have to be patient. Obviously sitting behind, trying to push the 2 the best he can, and lining up. So as long as you can stay off of the bumper around the corners, you don't necessarily need to be touching cars to get a good push going. But right now, doing a pretty decent job, trying to see where the 2 is deciding to go as they pass the Mobil 1 car down there on the inside as they go by. But right now, it is Drafty Beef leading with Jarrett Martin, Robert Altman, Joe Thomas, Tiffany Ellis for your top 5. See Sean McLean. I'm not sure what happened with him.
He's down there in 27th right now.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, well, you did mention Joe Thomas. I was just going to mention him as well. He's up 13 spots right now, and shout out to him. Obviously, the title sponsor here for the series, the pinupsforvets.com, and he is going to be the title sponsor for the race next week as well at Michigan. So we'll get to talk to him again and just kind of pick his brain on how the season's gone so far, and if everything's living up to his expectations, what he's looking at for next week. But right now, he's looking to try and get to the lead. He's out there 2nd in line on the outside behind Jared Martin. Got Tiffany Ellis right behind, as well as both these lines are forming up nicely here once again, as getting close closer to that halfway point. Not there just yet, but they want to mention to everyone out there here one more time. But kind of mentioned a little bit late last night in the race for the 191 Motorsports. But we do have a special event coming up here on CRN. Not this weekend, but the following weekend on Saturday, we have the CRN Cup, which pits all the leagues that CRN covers in a couple races together. There's going to be an Xfinity race and then a GT3 race, and these teams here, or these leagues get to put teams together and try and compete against each other, and also a chance to just have a little fun on their off night and maybe do a little bit of recruiting as well. So hope to see all these leagues put some teams together. I know the Hold Your Brakes here, I think, has the biggest team so far. I think they have 6 drivers already signed up for the event, but I think just about every league that we have has at least 1 or 2 drivers locked in for the event. So hoping to see everyone out there and putting in a good fun effort. I know me and Jimmy will be looking forward to it on the broadcast, but right now we still got plenty of racing here in tonight's race. Jarrett Martin leading the way as he finally worked his way around Drafty Beef, moved down to the inside. So now on that outside line, the 218 of Joe Thomas is leading the way.
Yeah, it's tough, you decide when to drop down, whether you want to continue to be up there on the outside. It tends to be the outside line that usually comes around and is able to make the pass, and it's obviously on Joe to reach down in there and get that side draft if he wants it. You can see I'll move over here to Joe quick as he's getting a nice little push there by the 87. So just a nice light tap right before the entrance of the corner, and the 87 of Tiffany Ellis should be working their way around in order to maybe give that 218 a push going down the front stretch. So nice is off in the corner, now down the front stretch, should be right on that back bumper pushing and try to push that 218 down into turn number 1. You see not quite lined up, looking to the outside just a little bit, so maybe just a little weary for the given the push. And you have to be comfortable. You're like know how long your car is, how you're looking out from the front here. But we'll jump on board with Tiffany here. We'll go to the cockpit to see how it looks. So this is what Tiffany is looking at here, looking on at Joe Thomas, trying to push Joe to the front in the 87.
Yeah, it could have been a situation too, maybe dipping out there just to get a little fresh air on the front of that 87. But you see these drivers are coming up on a lap car here, as that was a good job of backing out of it there for Tiffany heading through the tri-oval, or that could have been a big disaster. But as I mentioned, coming up on a lap car here pretty soon. It looks like that is, trying to see if that's the 28, I believe.
Yes.
I'm wondering, actually, Jimmy, do we have the car numbers on the track map, or is that the positions?
It should be the car numbers.
Because I think the one you're keyed on right now is actually supposed to be the 00, but it's showing as the number 1. So that's what was confused me, because I'm like, they're coming up on the 28, but that doesn't seem right here. And looks like
I clicked them. They're so close together.
And this was a good job there of the lap car going to that high line, letting everybody by on the inside, not getting involved. But yeah, exactly. Plenty of too wide racing. I know the lap car there wants to get in line, wants to grab some of that draft and not stay too far off of this pack here. And yeah, you see now that the 23 there, Matt Ulmer trying to get in line just to get a little draft and maybe have a chance to get up there and get a lap back. Maybe the hard way, maybe at least stay in line for the lucky dog. But 3 wide, here's the 44 up through the middle of the 3. Maybe nicely got into the wall, but that is going to be an incident for Tiffany Ellis up into the wall. Looks like gonna save it, stay in line there. And it looked like it was kind of net code contact between the 44 and 87, but the 44 of Jorge Ledesma right to the front. You see Ellis looks like they might have some kind of major issue there to the front of that 87, unfortunately. And that's going to take us one less car at the front, as that was a little bump coming off the corner there. I got a little worried about that one right there, but Drafty Beef into the back of Jeremy Martin. Now we see the 14 of Rob Higgs. Remember, all the way in the back, one of the few cars that had yet to pit, but actually came into the pits on lap number 20. So all it is the front 2 cars right now. Jared Martin, Drafty Beef, have yet to come into the pits. And we'll see what they got and see if they can make this thing all the way to the end, as we're just past halfway.
Yeah, they're probably not too concerned about, you know, coming down the pits just as of yet. Obviously, they should be able to go at least another 15 laps or so, and anything can happen in 15 laps. You can see the cars continuing to dance around, the drivers trying to get runs, maybe just trying to see what line works for them, getting used to like letting up just a little bit, and then you get that big run, and then what do you do with, you know, with the big run? Obviously, do you use the run? Do you let up and just kind of settle in the position that you're at? But it is all about car control. And the drivers obviously still dance around all over the place, so still working the throttle and the wheel, as it doesn't take much. But
and there come our 2 leaders into the pits. Right on cue. Right when you said they're not really worried about it, not concerned about it. Well, here they come into the pits, and this is pretty big here. As you know, it's one thing we haven't talked about. Green flag pit stops here. You gotta have some friends. You gotta come into the pits with somebody else. You gotta hope that none of you get any kind of speeding penalties or unsafe entries. And right there, Drafty Beef sliding through the pit stall. Not gonna help right there, but you need somebody to draft with as you exit the pits. And this is going to be very interesting now, as a lot of these drivers that are out, well, everybody out there has come into the pits at least once, and by all means they may be able to make it to the end. And that is exactly why the lap cars should be at the high line right there, as this one is going to bring out undoubtedly a caution. Looks like has yet to come out. But there it is. The caution is going to come out, and that's why it's usually asked that the lap cars go to the high line, or that right there can happen. Looks like Matt Bryant and Shane King into pit lane on this one, but Rob Higgs all the way from the back to the front. But you see right here the incident from the drivers trying to work their way around the lap car.
yeah, it's really tough. Obviously, that lap car not trying to cause any incident, just kind of hanging down there at the bottom, and it is possible to get around them. It's just people need to have a heads up, but maybe you know, a little bit of chatter on the radio to say, you know, lap car low or something like that, to kind of let everybody give them a heads up. But Don King going for a ride there. There's a few other drivers working their way around to miss. You see a couple cars crabbing there, heading down towards pit lane there. So few cars in this incident here, Carl. We're over that halfway mark, obviously, and so with a few drivers already pitting, you know, they should hopefully remain on the lead lap. We'll see how things kind of work out here, but looks like right now we have 18 cars on the lead lap, starting back with Robbie Minor being the first lap car down, then Tristan Minor, Jeremy Gill, Quinn McLean, Bryson Anderson, Tiffany Ellis, Kelly Akron, and Tyler Edmondson, Sean McLean, Matt Ulmer, all a couple laps down. So definitely like to see these drivers continue, and we'll see who's going to stay out. But you see a lot of drivers coming in. Obviously, we're able to stay out there now. Now they're probably good to go for the rest of the race. So I don't know how many lap or pit stops we'll see from some drivers, but unless it's to use a faster pair. But Don King right now showing out front, so we'll see how things work out as the caution laps kind of go by here.
Well, and this was a nice little benefit for the 2 drivers that we've seen coming into the pits, Jared Martin, Drafty Beef, as they don't have to try and work their way back up through the field. They don't have to try and draft their way and hang out while this thing is going green. They get to move their way right back up towards the front, as now Jared Martin looks like going to line up in 3rd, Drafty Beef in 4th. But do got to give a shout out to the man in 2nd place. I mean, Don King all the way up there, 19 spots into 1st, but first time we've seen that 17 back up front since he had the pole. Joshua King now moved himself back up into 2nd place, so we'll see if that 17 can now hang out there for the second half of the race, if he even wants to. I mean, we've seen drivers elect to just go to the back by themselves, and they feel a little bit more comfortable back towards the back. But really surprised. I mean, I know we had some of the incidents and the cautions and things like that, but I was kind of surprised when you started mentioning how many drivers were actually not on the lead lap, and the fact that we only have 19 drivers on the lead lap right now is kind of surprising. I don't know if drivers had to go back to pit lane, or maybe they just got lost the draft and then had to come into the pits, what the case was. But yeah, quite a few drivers at least a lap down here, and with some of these drivers staying out, they won't be able to stay in front and get that lucky dog, unfortunately, or not the lucky dog, the waiver rounds. So I'm not surprised that we see a lot of drivers coming into the pits here, just topping off, getting ready for which could very well be this last pit stop of the race.
I'm almost positive it should be the last of the pit stops for the race, but you never know unless somebody just is trying something different. But yeah, only 19 drivers remain on the lead lap right now, and now it's going to become kind of a push from Tristan Miner back to kind of be in that position for the lucky dog if and when something happens. And then to stay out of the incident in order to get the lucky dog. So there's like a race within a race now, Carl, with these lap drivers gonna need to want to move in a position that if something happens, they can get back up on the lead lap. So, but we're gonna see how they work that out. And there's a good chunk of them here. There's a few drivers still making shifts around.
And how about the man right behind right there in the Ford, Jeremy Gill? We seen him earlier drop down on the inside and blow the motor, and he is only one lap down right now and not too far away from that lucky dog position, only a few positions away. So we'll see if that 4 can try and sneak up there and get into the lucky dog spot and get back into the mix of this race. But it's been a fun one so far. I want to send a thank you out again to Joe Thomas with pinupsforvets.com and all the support here for the league, and send a shout out to all the fans out there. I want to thank you for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe and get you in touch with everything that's here and has to offer. Doesn't cost you anything to hit that little thumbs up. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe either. It's not like there's a subscription fee or anything like that. It just kind of gives you a heads up of everything that we have on CRN. We have 191 Motorsports on Sunday nights, obviously right here, the Hold Your Brakes Academy on Tuesdays, or on Mondays, on Tuesdays. Coming up here in a few weeks, we're going to have the return of the Core XFINITY series. Wednesdays we have CSRL GT3 series. Thursdays, starting this Thursday again, we have the virtual velocity racing coming back into action. So trying to get broadcasting lined up for the Core GT series on Thursdays, but as you can hear, plenty of racing action here on CRN. So you hit that subscribe if you want to get notifications on when CRN is live. Just hit that little bell and it'll give you a little notification on your phone or on your PC. But we are back to racing here at Daytona. Don King in the lead. Joshua King drops down to the inside right behind. You got Jared Martin up there. Joe Thomas in 4th place. Leading the way on the outside is going to be Drafty Beef, trying to get that number 2 back up to the front.
And yeah, just pulled it back here to spectator cam here just a little bit so you can kind of see how the whole field is doing here as they go through the corners. But yeah, you can see the 2 wide and the lights kind of hitting off and giving a nice shine to some of those chrome machines. But coming out at turn number 4 right now, coming down the front stretch here, it is going to be Don King over Drafty Beef as they are side by side. So the King's kind of hooked up on the bottom right now, Carl. So we'll see how well they can get things going, but just have to be careful of that double zero. But I don't think yeah, it is 00. Jarrett Martin back there. Trying to make sure you're trying to give that 17 a little push. That's like that 3rd car back in line is like a very tricky spot to be, because you want to tuck up underneath, but you don't want to push that guy because he should be pushing the leader of that line. So you got to be careful. So it's a very difficult spot to be. It's probably more difficult than leading the pack.
Yeah, and I know Daytona is a flat-out track, but to me, the most important pedal is the brake pedal at Daytona, and you're not going to be braking going into the corners or anything like that. But as the 2nd car in line, as the 3rd car in line, as any other car in line, and even the leader on restarts, you could be using that brake pedal, and it's more often than not, getting off the gas upsets the car, and it does something that the car doesn't like to do. It kind of just, you know, changes the airflow over the car, and it can really upset the handling very quickly. Where if you just hold that pedal flat to the floor and just use the brake, just a little bit of a brake drag, or, you know, if you need to you know, roll up a little bit quicker, get on that brake a little bit harder, and you know, stay off that guy in front of you. But I mean, what, at least for me, when I'm driving here at Daytona, both feet are fully in action. I'd like to try and keep that pedal flat to the floor unless I'm coming up on an incident. But then I do have another foot right there on the brake if I need to drag it. Whether I'm the leader, I don't want to get too good of a restart, and I can drag it a little bit, let, you know, bring everybody back up to my back bumper. Or if I'm the guy, you know, second in line, third in line, don't want to get into somebody in front of me, just drag that brake a little bit. It's a lot safer, in my opinion, and it keeps that car a little bit better balanced.
Yes. I mean, I don't think I ever touched the brake, to be honest. It's all about, for me, it's all about just a slight lift. And you know, if I'm using brake, it is the slow down because an incident happened. But you see the 51 down to the inside, Steve Harrison, letting the field go by, trying to
stay on the apron.
Well, it's, you know, it's hard. You know, you don't want to get in the grass, and so, you know, running out of room there. But did a pretty good job staying out of the way as everybody made their way by the 51 there. So good job by the 51. You know, might not be having the race that he wanted right now, but definitely it's something that's that when I see that type of thing for a driver, that's just the sportsmanship for the league. You know, the respect that he has for everybody else out there. So that goes a long way. Oh, we got something going on in the back. Ooh, where is it at? Come on, there it is.
Yep, carbon wall, another one, and the 4 gonna get tangled up in this one. That might have been a chance for Jeremy Gill to get back on the lead lap, but unfortunately tangled up in this one. Looks like the 53, I believe that was, a Robbie Minor in this one as well.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see what brought this one out.
Hold on, that's already happening up in front here. I need to grab the right car. Oh, is that? Let's see.
The 53 up into the, that was a red car up into the wall.
There it is.
Right there, the 60. Oh, quite a bit of a kerfuffle. Looks like the 87 and Tiffany Ellis up into the wall first. The 22 trying to stay off. That's Tristan Miner trying to stay off of the 87, and I think it's kind of bottlenecked and backed everything up right there.
Yep,
see, maybe a little bit of net code contact right there. Then the 53 gets shot down into the 60, and then it was the impact going back up the track right in front of Rain Race reporter Kelly Akron. And man, hard impact again for the 19, and I think it's stuck inside the 53 there for a little bit before both their hoods go flying off the car. Looks like the 23 getting set in there sideways as well. And it looked like the 4 was going to snake out of it, but then right there, unfortunately, the 53 drifted down across the track, collects the 4, and just a rough go of it so far for the 4, Jeremy Gill. But it's going to bring out another caution here. A couple of drivers coming down into the pits. Looks like Don King, Andrew Jones down into pit lane on this one. I'm sure we're going to see some of the cars involved in this one. I know Robbie Minor already in the pits. Shane King now in the 60. He's coming down into the pits. Wouldn't be surprised if we see the 19 there of Akron coming down as well. And quite a few towards the back that may be being involved in this. We're going to be locking up those tires. Want to get some fresh tires on that car as well. But going to bring us under another caution here. When we get this thing back going, though, we're going to be under 20 laps to go.
Yeah, we're already down to go marker flag up there on the banner. So yeah, only 20 laps to go. I mean, it's still a good amount of time out there on the track, and obviously tonight the drivers having some issues trying to avoid each other and getting things done. So it's kind of like I said, it's that balance of like what to do with that run when you get it. You know, and you know, do you take it or do you let up? You know, and if you're trying to make something happen, obviously you want to use that momentum and, you know, start to work on maybe a pass. Maybe you got a partner or a teammate following you. or something. So that's what you'd use that momentum to your advantage. But more times than not, Carl, you know, like we said here, you know, it's obviously a 65 lap race. You know, for 60 laps, you know, you're just trying to survive, trying to maintain your position. And then, you know, once you get, about 10 laps to go, you start trying to make your way forward on the best of your ability without kind of having these incidents. And a lot of times these drivers, obviously you get these runs, they're so big, and the closure rate is so great. You're like, all right, I got a hole, I'm going to take it. And then you get there and then you get dirty air. Maybe somebody else decides to poke out from a line in front of you to try to either slow you down or to use your momentum to their benefit. So it's tough, you know, when to use that momentum and that draft, that big old draft, and to make a position, and especially during the middle of the race. And more times than not, it's best to just kind of, unfortunately, just kind of, unless you're trying to move to the front, just hang out. So anytime you get a big run, just ease off the gas a little bit and just slide, you know, just kind of follow the car in front of you, just like follow the leader until there's, you know, time to you know, make the move. So, but right now, the make the move for somebody right now, biggest mover of the race is actually William Martin back there in P number 12 in the 52 machine there. You see the USA machine, Toyota. So just doing a pretty good job, just kind of coming from the back right now, currently midfield. So this is the you know, the battlefield for me. This is where a lot of what I would consider the battlefield for most races. But Daytona, Carl, I think the whole track is a battlefield.
Yeah, I think the only time you're maybe not racing somebody is when you're out front or when you're parked in the pits. Other than that, it's always maybe not racing somebody for a position, but racing somebody and kind of keep an eye on them and make sure that they're not making a mistake and they're not getting into you as well, whether it be alongside of you, behind you, anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's a whole long, and no matter how long Daytona is, you can race a 25 lap race here and it's a 20 lap endurance race and then a 5 lap sprint. I mean, it really all comes down to those last few laps that, you know, but we've said it before. To me, I kind of break it down into, you know, about 10 laps to go, you want to start planning on, okay, you know, where do I want to be to make that final push. Then maybe with 5 laps to go, you kind of want to be in that position, whether that's, you know, in the top 10 or the top 15, wherever you think you can make that final push from. And then in those final laps is when you actually start making that push and you start working your way up through the front, because you don't want to make that move too early. Or you'll just be another one that gets taken over right at the end. And I know I've said it 100 times. I'll say it again here tonight. I don't want to be the man that crosses that finish line in first on the white flag. But I'll be damned if 9 times out of 10 that one that crossed the start finish line in first at the white flag usually comes around to win the race as well. So I don't know. I still don't know. And I'll never know. But either way, we're back racing here. Drafty Beef in the lead. Joe Thomas up there in second place. Looks like at least 2 wide, maybe 3 wide. Riding on board here with Zach White in the gyro cam. And you get to see how much of this banking here at Daytona. But I think another thing we need to take a look at, I agree with Mike Casey. There's plenty of good looking paint schemes out here. I think it's about time we need to crank it up here for these last 19 laps or so, at least for a few laps. Give everyone out there in Sierra Nation a little love to hear it.
We'll love to hear it. Everybody was doing such a great job, but we are under caution again here tonight at Daytona with 13 laps to go. A few drivers involved. We'll go back and check out to see what happened here. You can see the 22 and the 4 getting together down just after the start finish line, and obviously 52 getting right in there as well. Nowhere to go. Couple cars going down, so 6 getting involved as well. A hood's going flying. Tough break here for some of these drivers at the end of the race.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, again, like with the 7 there coming in there late for Brian Anderson, you see a little gap. You think maybe I can just floor it, sneak through there, but more often than not, the cars just find you, and it's a shame. He was just kind of boxed in there. Once he kind of decided to make that move, he was in there, he was stuck, and it was a wrap. But it's going to bring us another caution here, but it's starting to get a little bit later here in the race, as well as we're down to 12 laps to go here now, with Drafty Beef still out front, Joe Thomas, Joshua King, Jorge Ledesma, and Jarrett Martin for your top 5. And be interested to see if anyone decides to come down into pit road. Again, track position, not exactly, paramount. You don't need to necessarily have track position, but later on in the race, you feel a little bit comfortable if you need to make a move to be up a little bit further in that pack, and maybe it's a little bit more important than deciding to take tires. Unless you need to top off on fuel, I wouldn't expect to see too many cars come down to pit road here and give up that track position. But we're going to get this thing back going here, and it's going to be 10 laps to go. I believe you should see the pace car lights out this time by going across the line, and Yeah, looks like the lights are out on the pace. Oh, no, actually still on the pace car. Just couldn't see him there at first, but yep. So we will actually be less than 10 laps to go. It's gonna be 9 laps to go when we get this thing green. Didn't see too many cars to pit lane. Quite a few of the lap cars towards the back. Looks like Quinn McLean getting the lucky dog on the previous yellow there. Now coming in and maybe getting some tires and fuel to finish this thing out, and quite a few of the lap cars coming down there as well. Still hoping they can get a chance to get back on the lead lap, as you see right there. I believe that was Steve Harrison going around and getting a lap back and get back on the lead lap. So we'll have back to 18 cars here once again on the lead lap with the 51 come back on there. And I'm not sure, is that car crabbing there, Jimmy, or was just a kind of a weird angle I was looking at. It looks like that car is a little bit off kilter. Not exactly Foster Yates type like we seen last night at Pocono. But I mean, that was still epic, and that's going to go down as one of the best drives in core history for sure. But yeah, definitely a little bit well twisted there, and for the number 51 of Harrison, and it looks like it's just a little bit off skew there. And well, you look at the front, yeah. Maybe I was right. I didn't see that hood missing to begin with, but looks like you went from driving an Xfinity car here to a modified for Daytona. And he's usually not the fastest way around here.
You shouldn't have any overheating problems, that's for sure.
Absolutely not.
Everybody getting ready to get back, ready to go under green here, and you know, obviously, you know, we're like, oh, well, when we go back to green, we'll have 10 laps to go. It's still like 25 miles. It's such a long way. And anything can happen, you know, at this point of the race. And obviously, drivers are going to want to try to maybe win the prize tonight, or try to get them points here, because maybe this is their best opportunity to maximize on points. Maybe they're not a short track driver or any, you know, maybe this is where they enjoy most of racing, and a lot of drivers do, as well as you know, it's just like, you think you can win, you know you can win, you just need to be just given the right opportunity. All the stars need to align, and they're only going to align for one person. So who is it going to be? We do not know. 10 laps to go. Anybody on the lead lap is a contender, as far as I'm concerned, here for a win at Daytona. And right now there is 18 drivers, so that's including Harrison, that's in the pits at the moment, and I'm sure they'll be coming out to try to get back up there. But right, for the restart of this race, it's going to be Drafty Beef, Joe Thomas, Joshua King, George Ledesma, Jarrett Martin, Ryan Ferrone, Rob Higgins, Timothy Presley, Robert White, and Aaron Genske for your top 10. And you have Matt Bryant, Don King, Shane King, Robert Altman, Andrew Jones, Zach White, and Quinn McLean for your top 17. Obviously, Steve Harrison will be bringing up the rear there to try to stay on the lead lap, as we have 10 laps to go, so you should be able to do that. So at least be able to get that top 18 finish, and not too bad out of a 29 car field, to be honest.
Well, not too good for our points leader, Jeremy Gill, as we mentioned him a couple times. Still stuck a lap down back there in 21st. Came in with a 2-point lead over Andrew Jones, who we've seen at the front maybe one time here tonight in that 3, back there in 15th right now. And then Matt Ulmer in the 23 is back a lap or 2 down as well towards the back of the field in 25th. So points definitely could be shaken up here, and maybe Drafty Beef looking to go from 4th to 1st in the points, leading this thing right now. But to give everyone an idea, as we go back to green here with 9 laps to go, if you think right now is the time that you need to start making moves, you need to get to the front. Like Jimmy mentioned, we got 45. I mean, we got 9 laps to go here at Daytona. You take that into consideration when you look at a track like Bristol. Would you make the move that you need to win the race with 45 laps to go? Because that's essentially what we got right now. I mean, we got that long of a race still to go here at Daytona. I know it goes by a little bit quicker here, as going a little bit faster pace, but I mean, that's essentially what you're asking, and that's why I say, you know, look at a short track. When do you start making a move on a short track with maybe 10, 15 laps to go? Well, add that up here at Daytona. You're only making your moves with maybe 2, 3 laps to go. That could be the winning moves. But you need to be in the right spot right now. You need to figure out, where do I need to be? Is the top 10? Can I make my move from the top 15, or do I need to be up there a little bit higher? Do I need to be in the top 5? Do I need to find a teammate? Do I need to find somebody that's going to help me get to the front? Right now, it is Joe Thomas at the front on the outside, Drafty Beef on the inside in the 2. You see the 44 there on the outside, kind of looking around here a little bit. Not sure if he's trying to get some air on there or trying to figure out how to give Thomas a good push on the outside line as we head on to the backstretch.
Backstretch there, a little lift there from the 115 as they babble around, but nowhere to go. People looking for a lane here. You see the 14 trying to make 3 wide work here. We're going to go up here. The 115 in the wall. The 1 goes around. And Timothy Presley can't catch him.
Impact right there. And all 3 of our top 3 in the points that I just mentioned involved in this one. The 3 gets involved, lose the hood. The 4 involved, the 23 hard impact as well a couple times. And this, I think we consider the big one here at Daytona, coming late. The 1 of Timothy Presley left on his roof.
Unfortunately, for Timothy Presley, and it already happened. Starting to begin here. There's a 1 that's in the wall. Oop! I'm gonna rewind this here a little bit for everybody. And we'll see what happened here.
Looks like a late move to try and get to the inside. The 69 though was running kind of that middle line. The 1 maybe thought the 69 was down at the bottom. Hooks himself off the nose, but I think the impact between him and the 115 and the outside up at that wall may have been, and maybe even a little net code there to start, but it might have been some of the biggest impact I've maybe ever seen here at Daytona. I mean, it was just vicious right here with the 115 shooting off like a pinball down into the 3, the 94 getting involved, the 77, the 70, the 9 getting a little, or the 6 getting a little piece of it, the 23, the 4, the 22, even the 70. You see the 7 coming in here late, maybe helping out the 70 and clearing out that 115 a little bit here. But plenty of cars involved in this one late. You see the 23, Matt Ulmer getting lifted up there again at the end. And this is going to take us down a little bit closer. And this, kind of goes against what I just mentioned about, when do you make your move? Because people decide to make their moves so late in these, or so early in these races. You almost kind of have to make your moves a little bit earlier as well, because you don't want to get stuck in these cautions. And all of a sudden, when you plan on making your move in 5 laps to go, you're still under caution at 5 laps to go.
Yes, and a lot of these drivers, ones up front that were, racing pretty hard or were able to walk away, not being involved here. So being up front, obviously, it's paying off for some of these drivers. Drafty Beef, Joe Thomas, Joshua King, George Ledesma, all up there in the top 4. And then you have Jarrett Martin back here in 5th, Rob Higgs, Ryan Perrone, Robert White, and Matt Bryant, and Shane King for your top 10. A few of them cars are looking a little rough, but they're still there. They're still on the lead lap, trying to make things work.
Well, is that? Can we take a look at the 19? Is that back-to-back times that we've seen the lucky dog get their lucky dog without a hood? I'm not sure if I've seen a hood on the front of that 19. And sure enough, you just have to be at the right spot at the right time. And how about this, back-to-back lucky dogs without a hood on that car, as Kelly Akron getting back around here, getting one of the laps back here still. Back quite a few laps down, looks like 6 laps down still to the field, and not exactly the race that Kelly envisioned. Was up at in the top 5 at one point, but unfortunately not going to end as well here tonight. But good to see at least getting a lap back here with the lucky dog. We're going to be less than 5 laps to go, though. Once you get this thing back to green, who do you think has got you to get this thing done here tonight? You got Drafty Beef at the front, Joe Thomas, your pulsator here tonight, Joshua King up there in 3rd, Jorge Ledesma certainly been making moves in that 44 here tonight. Jarrett Martin has had the 00 up there. Rob Higgs has spent some time at the front. Ryan Perrone, Robert White, Matt Bryant, Shane King for your top 10. Who do you think can get it done, though? Who do you think is going to survive? Who do you think is in the right spot and can be there at the right time at the end?
Could be anybody. Like I said, if you're on the lead lap, they're a contender, and it's not over yet. looking at the field here, we have 14 drivers on the lead lap that have the opportunity to win here tonight. And then if we look at the rules, oops, no, not rules, info. We do have. Let's see, green, white, checkered.
I don't think it says green, white, checkered in the info. For me, the only time I see it is when it actually goes the green, white, checkered at the end. But yeah, I mean, more often than not, we do end up seeing some green, white, checker finishes here at Daytona. We'll see if they can get it done under green here with these last, what's going to be 4 laps to go when we get the green flag. It is, again, Drafty Beef, Joe Thomas at the front of this thing. I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in here tonight. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and help you get in touch with everything that we have to offer here at CRN, and really help these drivers out here for the Hold Your Brakes Academy as well. You hit that like, that little thumbs up. It helps this video get up there a little bit more in the YouTube algorithm. And anytime somebody searches for Daytona or Xfinity or iRacing, anything like that, there's a chance that this video will show up there towards the top and get them a little bit more views, as well as maybe even bring in some more drivers, maybe even bring in some sponsorships, anything like that. Any little bit can help, and all it takes from you out there is just hitting that thumbs up. But we'll see who's got their foot down to finish this thing out here. Drafty Beef is in control here at the front. Joe Thomas up there in second. We'll see if he has a chance to slide down there earlier, if he decides to stay out there. I know for me, Jimmy, we talked about it before. I know you mentioned you like being down on that bottom line, be able to hug that yellow line, not letting anybody underneath you. I prefer the top line because I feel like I have a little bit more freedom, that I can move around a little bit. And if somebody makes a bobble or I can make a run, I can side draft a little bit better. I think I have a little bit more freer time at the top line. But I mean, to each his own, as we're back to green.
Yeah, back to green, 2 wide for another 4 more laps. Hopefully they can hit that white flag here this time by, well, not this time by, but after a few more laps. But they're going to be rushing. They're going to see drivers trying to make moves, seeing a small hole and try to fit their vehicle in that position to maybe get one here. But the double zero blinking out just a little bit, so it's gonna make them guess. 14 looking for that spot maybe in the middle to try to split up the front. Gotta be careful doing that. You make sure if you're gonna take that center line that you have your full nose in there, and the other driver is aware that you're down there. But you can see the 17 kind of bouncing back and forth. So if I'm the 14, I might not take that. He's looking. He wants it.
Oh,
he's right there.
That's certainly not what you want to do right there. You don't want to bump on the quarter panel and the inside through the corners, as somehow they're still keeping it for the most part straight. Definitely dancing around here a little bit down the backstretch with 3 laps to go. Looks like the outside line just a little bit better there, but you see Thomas had a chance to move down. He's had a couple chances to move down, but electing not to. And I like the move. I'd rather be up at that top myself. You can certainly defend a little bit better up there as well. Coming back to the line here, 2 laps to go. Beef going to have a little bit of an edge at the front. Hard impact towards the back, and we are going to have a green-white checker to finish this thing out, as that was a big impact. Not sure who that was. I believe it might have been the 6 of Sean McLean involved in that one, but a couple others as well. We'll take a look back at that one, but that was pretty vicious at the line.
Yeah, already happening in front of these drivers here, but let's go up to the 6 and rewind here just a little bit.
Actually, the 21.
There it is.
21, not sure if they got onto the apron or not. No, looks like technically did start with the 6. The 6 getting in the back of the 87 of Ellis, sending them down into the 21. And then it was a vicious impact there. Kind of reminded me of Carl Edwards one time here at Daytona, or actually I believe that was at Talladega, but a hard impact to the outside wall there, and even shades of Dale in turn number 3. But right there, again, the 150 or the 115, the 77. I know they probably would have got involved in this one regardless, but that's a situation right there where they might have gotten a little bit less involved if they just checked up just a little bit. But big impacts for a few of these cars right here. And man, I agree with you, Mike. This can definitely be stressful from the outside looking in. But we're gonna have ourselves a green white checkered, and they do have 3 attempts at a green white checkered here tonight. We'll see if it only takes 1, or if maybe we go all 3.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's hard. Like I said, it's super speedway racing, and a lot of drivers, I think they love the idea until you're out on the track. It's definitely puts yourself in a situation to the possibility of win. But it's, are you lucky? Do you have the talent to get your car up there and be in the right spot at the right time? We've seen Drafty Beef up front majority of tonight. We've seen Joe Thomas up front for about the second half of the race now. And then obviously we've seen Joshua Viper King up there for the majority of tonight too. So there's a few drivers that have found themselves there. 14 was out in the lead at the very early stages of the race. But some other drivers just, I think, trying to have a good finish here tonight. With the points leaders having all kinds of issues, it's really going to toss the points around a lot. See the 22 working their way around, probably getting a wave around as they come through the field, and that would be Tristan Miner, so in 13th position. So yeah, it's going to be I think a good finish. Not knowing who's going to win, but we're going to get to a checkered flag here eventually. Whether we can do it on this time by, or this restart, or the next one, we will find out. But right now, it is Drafty Beef in the lead over Joe Thomas, Joshua King, Jarrett Martin, and George Ledesma for your top 5.
Well, to give you an idea of what Daytona can do for point standings, unless I'm mistaken, right now I'm counting 3 of the top 10 in points right now on the lead lap. And that is pretty amazing. And I think all of them, but maybe 1, are in attendance here tonight. So it's like there's some drivers missing. I believe James Smith in the number 9, unless I missed him out there, is the only one in the top 10 not out here in the race tonight. So 6 drivers in the top 10 are right now at least a lap down and really out of contention for the win here tonight, coming to the first green white checkered. But we do have some that are up there in contention. Obviously Drafty Beef coming into the night, he was 4th in points. And really not that far back, only 18 points behind your leader. You got Joshua King sitting in 5th in points. He is up there with a chance at the win. But I mean, it's very few and even. Andrew Jones 2nd in points, back there in 12th place right now. You never know what can happen on the last couple restarts here. We'll see if that 3 can get up there in the mix as well. But we are lights out. It's time for our first green white checkered here tonight. Will it be the only one? Will it be 1 of 2, 1 of 3? We'll see. They have 3 attempts here, but if they get the white flag, the next flag will end it. So we'll see what happens here. Looks like a little bit of blinking still from that 00 of Jared Martin. Hopefully that gets cleaned up before we get going here. But it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be just as good as it's been so far up here tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed it out there. I want to thank once again the sponsor here for the series, PitupsForVets.com. With Joe Thomas. We'll see if Joe can get that sponsor car to the front of this pack and win this thing starting in 2nd place here as we head on to the backstretch. Drafty Beef, Joe Thomas, Joshua King, Jared Martin, Jorge Ledesma for your top 5. Then you got Rob Higgs Jr., Shane King, Robert White, Matt Bryant, and Ryan Perone Sr. for your top 10. The pace car lights are out. We're ready to get this thing going. You see the field has been shredded up here a little bit, and it is down to the last maybe 15, 16 cars left on the track, but really we only got the top 13 right now on the lead lap with a chance at the win at this moment. We'll see if anything changes up, and maybe Robert Altman or somebody else there 1 lap down can get their lap back and have another chance with another green white checkered.
Oh, sugar. Who is it going to be?
out
Who's it
of
gonna be?
out of the corner down towards the tri-oval here. It is time to go green. It's green white checkered time right now. The pace car is in. It's in control by the two of Drafty Beef heading to the restart zone. He's back on the loud pedal as we are racing again at Daytona. Good restart from both him and Joe Thomas. The 17 of Joshua King closes in as well. Which line is gonna be grouped up a little bit better? Which one's gonna have the better pushes? Which one's gonna work their way to the front? It's really 3 cars in line at the bottom, 3 cars in line at the top, but you'll see a lot more getting involved. Here's the 60 of Shane King now getting up there involved as well. Hopefully that 00 gets the blinking issues fixed and maybe not have to worry about it as the 00 gets sent down to the inside, hard impact, but it's far off the racing surface, so it's not going to be a yellow here. It's going to be just hard luck for Jared Martin, one of the contenders for sure here tonight, but we're going to race back to the line. Again, if they take the white flag, the next flag will end it. Right now, Drafty Beef at the front. Joshua King in second, Jorge Ledesma in third. White flag in the air. One more lap to go here at Daytona.
A lot to go, and they're going to be all over the place. Drafty Beef's going to try to defend that the best he can. He just needs a really good push from King in order to get this thing, but will they stay together or will they separate coming off that last corner?
Onto the backstretch, the outside line getting a little bit extra push. You see the 00 still sitting there on the backstretch, but not really grouped up, and some bumping and banging around here. That's going to help that inside line, and now it's really going to help 3 wide into turn number 3. This is going to really help Drafty Beef try and stretch this thing out. Now it's going to be a race back to the line. Who's going to get the top 3 and the top 5, but they're all going to be chasing that number 2. Drafty Beef gets it done here tonight. Your winner here at Daytona. The 14 of Haig is going to come home in second. Joshua King in third. Definitely a long-awaited finish for that 17. He definitely needed a good finish here as he's been up there in so many races. We'll finally get to talk to him. Jorge Ledesma, Joe Thomas for your top 5. But Daytona definitely delivered here in the end.
Yeah, down to the finish, down to the wire, everybody trying to make something happen, and obviously you see how quick things can go astray. It is Daytona, so we'll go back here just one more time, and this is what happened behind. Big old wreck. Maybe that was the one before.
Yeah, that was definitely the wreck right before that, unless it was a mirror image. I mean, we've had that happen before as well. But yeah, some heavy impact for some of these drivers to finish this thing out. And here's a good look at the finish here, just past the finish actually, as the 44 getting into the 14. But heck of a job by Drafty Beef. We'll talk to these guys here in a second as everything finishes all out. But in the meantime, Jimmy, why don't you give us a final rundown of tonight's surviving order?
Surviving list here. Where did your driver finish here tonight? And let me pull this down out of the way. Get this off of there. There we go. Our results for tonight, and this is not the top here. We need to go back. Here. There we go. Oh, come on. There we go. Drafty Beef will be your winner here tonight with Rob Higgs and Joshua King for your top 3. We will talk to them here shortly. Then George Ledesma, Joe Thomas for your top 5. Don King, Robert White, Shane King, Ryan Perrone, and Matt Bryant for your top 10. And Tristan Miner finishes at 11th with Andrew Jones, Robert Altman, Bryson Anderson, Jeremy Gill, Steve Harrison, Jarrett Martin, and Quinn McLean for your top 18. And then the rest of your field will be Tyler Edmondson in 19th, Zach White, Aaron Genske, Kelly Akron, Tiffany Ellis, Sean McLean, Timothy Presley, Matt Ulmer, William Martin, Robbie Biner, and Thomas Osborne, as he was listed to drive here tonight but did not get out there very much. Called it quits early, so tough break for some of these drivers, and you can see a lot of the drivers a lap down. Looked like top 11 were still on the lead lap, so Definitely a unique race here tonight, and a lot of things that some of the drivers had to overcome in order to get a good finish. But good run there for some. It's going to shift the points up a little bit, as our points leader were involved in a lot of the incidents and ended up towards the back of the pack. And yeah, we talked about Drafty Beef getting that top there, that win here tonight, being in that 4th position. So could see a good change in the points, and maybe even a new points leader.
So we got our top 3 here ready for their interviews, and certainly well deserved. Maybe we have to give them some time to wipe off the sweat and calm down a little bit after this one. But I'm sure the first man we talked to, Jimmy, is going to be one that is well deserved, and it's about time that we finally get to interview our 3rd place driver here tonight. Jimmy, why don't you take the 17 of Joshua King?
That phrase is trademark.
Hey Josh, it's Jimmy and Carl up in the booth. How are you tonight?
Doing good, guys. How are you?
Not too bad. Hey, that was one crazy finish and a crazy race pretty much all night. Found yourself with a little bit of luck here tonight and being able to finish in the top 3. So give us a little rundown on how hectic and crazy your race was here tonight.
Yeah, very wild super speedway race. I mean, that's kind of what you expect. Felt good right off the bat. Obviously, 2nd week in a row I got the pole, but didn't want it to go like it did last week. We all saw that. And then ultimately started going that way, worked my way back to the front. Then hooked up with Drafty, man, and we were just hooked up on that inside line, and every lap around he was ahead, and I told him, I was like, we'll do this every lap to the last lap, and if I get an opportunity to go to your outside, I'll drag race you for it. And just didn't get the opportunity, but got a really bad bump around the final corner. I have no clue how I even saved it to bring it home 3rd, but yeah, it feels good. It's been such an up and down season. We've either been finishing at the back, getting wrecked, or we've been finishing 3rd. So
Well, in either case, I mean, a little bit of luck your way. I mean, obviously with the poles is always good, and it's not one that drivers don't worry about the pole like here at Daytona as it is. Obviously you need a little bit of luck along with talent, but you shown that you had the talent to get the speed, by yourself to get that pole. So big congrats on that. That's sometimes not hard to do, and a lot of the people want to give themselves a good pat on the back, for being able to qualify. And you've done it 2 weeks in a row now here with the polls. So it's good to see the number 17 up there, and obviously get rewarded here tonight with a podium finish. Should be a good points night for the number 17 as well, as some of the points leader found themselves towards the back of the field here. So hopefully your bad luck for the past couple of weeks will turn around here at Daytona and put yourself in a better position for the championship for the end of the season. But yeah, great run here, I think, and just a great finish here by the 17. Also, obviously want to give a shout out to your paint scheme as well. It's always a good looking car out there. So but again, from CRN, we want to say congratulations on surviving tonight, and give you a little bit of time for any shouts you might have on that number 17.
yeah, appreciate it, man. Definitely feels good to get rewarded. A shout out to who made my paint, Drafty Beef, our winner tonight. Mad Cow Designs, that's him, so that's pretty cool. Shout out to you guys, awesome broadcast. Love watching them back, even when I don't have a great night on track. Always fun to watch back. Shout out to Royalty Motorsports. Another good night for us at the track. Drafty 1, me 3. Don King, first race back in a really long time. He brought home 6th. Shane King battled through a lot of issues tonight, finished 8th. So that's cool. 4 in the top 10, large field. Shout out to our sponsors, SM Racing Products and Majestic Promotional Branded Apparel. Joe Thomas, Pinups for Vets, putting this on, giving us the opportunity to get you guys and put on the awesome show that you do. Definitely taking this league to the next level. And everyone coming out. It's a really good culture league. It's a lot of fun. It's tempers run high at times, but that's racing. We all just gotta kind of reel it in at times, tell each other, relax. But it's a lot of fun. We have a good time, and congrats to Drafty picking up the win tonight. He dominates it at Daytona typically, and good to see another royalty win on the board.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's good to see. When your team has that great finish, and especially a lot of the people that you race with. Obviously, the Kings is being up there here tonight in the top 10, so it's always good to see. So again, congratulations from CRN, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Appreciate it, man. You guys have a good night.
You too.
That is your third place finisher here tonight, the 17 of Joshua King. Second place here tonight, and maybe a bit of a shock. It was definitely an up and down race for the 14 of Rob Higgs Jr. Rob, I guess the first question is, how did you survive here tonight, and did you ever think you're going to come away with any kind of finish, let alone a top three here tonight?
I'm actually shocked, especially with as aggressive as I was, pushing the three wides and making the moves I had to try to get back up to the front a few times.
I mean, it had to be, easy. I'm sure you blended in. It's not like you had a bright pink and purple car out there that people could see easily. Yes, you just blended in, and nobody saw you out there, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. There at the end, I know coming down to it, I know Josh and Drafty were definitely staring at my car because every time I peek the middle, I see Josh's car shoot up, and I'm like, oh, when I go do this, it's going to be fun. He's going to cut me off. He knows I'm coming.
Well, like I said, we're all pink on the inside. You're just a little pink on the outside with your paint scheme here. So, I mean, it's got to feel good to not only finish Daytona, but to finish up here on the podium here, get yourself a heck of a good finish here, heading into the closer to the midpoint of the season.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting, a lot of fun. Definitely finished where I was hoping to finish. Thought me and one of my teammates, I was going to be able to pull him along, but with the chaos there at the end, I told him, I'm like, look, if you can come with me, but when I see the hole, I'm just going for it, and if you're with me, you're with me. If not, good luck, buddy.
All right, well, you get it through Daytona here. Next week we head to Michigan, and I know for myself and my co-commentator here, it's one of our favorites to broadcast. It's a big wide track. You guys can let it rip out there, and if you need to make a pass, you can make a pass. There's so much room out there. How do you feel?
I love that track. There's 3 solid lines through there, depending on how you want to run it. There's a lot of being able to move in and out, going through the corners, making your moves. It's personally one of my favorite tracks. I love it. Doesn't matter what car. It just the options. I like having options going through the corners, being able to work people different ways.
Well, as long as you're out there pretty in pink, as always. Well, I'm sure
the car's always pink.
You're going to good finish out there. So congrats again on your second place finish here tonight. Before we let you go and get out of here, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
I want to thank my team boss, Jeremy, for allowing me to come run with him in all these different leagues and giving me the opportunity to do what I do and enjoy what I do.
All right, buddy. Well, keep up these finishes. It was certainly a pleasure talking to you. Hopefully we get to talk to you again at Michigan next week.
Definitely. That's the plan.
All right, buddy. That is your second place finisher here tonight, the 14 of Rob Higgs Jr. Last but not least, getting the first win here of the season is going to be the 2 of Drafty Beef.
Hey, Drafty. This is Jimmy Carl up in the booth. You copy?
I copy.
Well, you finally did it. You finally get the 2 to the front here and get the win. And within pretty a stout stance there all night, the 2 was up front, kind of leading the way in some way, shape, or the other. Whether you're down the inside or right there, right outside of being in the lead. So, I mean, tonight's race was obviously a testament of endurance for a lot of drivers, including yourself, being involved in some sticky predicaments. But find yourself the winner here tonight at Daytona. So give us a little rundown on how your race was before we go any farther.
It wasn't too bad. I know a lot of people had a pretty rough night, a bunch of cautions. I knew it was kind of going to happen tonight, so I really wanted to get up front and hopefully avoid most of it, which we did for the most part. We got caught up in a little bit of a tangle there up at the front. I don't know how, but I ended up not getting any serious damage. About 3 seconds optional. Got back out there and stayed out front the rest of the night. I really like super speedway. It's probably one of my strongest racing styles. So I'm really happy to actually bring home the win here finally and Hold Your Brakes Academy.
Yeah, it's I always tell Carl, it's obviously a lot of drivers love the super speedway because they have the opportunity to possibly get a win. It's an area where, you know, drivers will get their first win, not only in the sim, but also in real life. So, and it's a big one, you know, it's fast, it's furious, it can be chaotic, it can be caution plagued. So it takes a little bit of luck and obviously some talent to continue to run like that. And you've been showing that here with the two. So just finally see the two take the win here tonight is a big feat and deserves a big old congratulations, not only from us, but from everybody out there. So we want to say congratulations here from CRN on the win here at Daytona. But next week is Michigan. So how do you feel about the upcoming week?
That is like my third favorite track of all time, so I'm really looking forward to it. I like Michigan's really big. It has a lot of grooves for racing, so it should really present a lot of opportunity to hopefully get another win or at least a good finish here and keep moving up in the points a little bit.
We'll definitely be watching that number 2 for a great finish at Michigan. But before we get out of here, we want to say congratulations and then give you some time for any shouts you might have in that number 2.
Yeah, thank you. First, I got to shout out the team, Royalty Motorsports. Shout out Josh. He was helping me a lot there at the end of the race, giving me some good bumps. He came in third tonight, so good finish for the team. Thank SM Racing Products and Majestic Promotional Branded Apparel, and of course, Royalty Racing Network. And of course, got to thank you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. Love watching it after the race, and thanks to Shane for putting on the league.
Oh, we definitely appreciate the shout outs, and they always feel good, and I'm sure the sponsors will love to hear it and see it here as you are the winner here tonight. So again, congratulations on the win here at Daytona. Look forward to seeing you next week at Michigan, but I guess until next time, we'll let you go and celebrate with your friends and family.
Okay, we'll see you then.
That is your winner here tonight, getting his first win of the season, Drafty Beef, and could very well be the points leader leaving here tonight. But Jimmy, I got to say, I don't think I like Drafty anymore. How could you say Michigan is your third favorite track? I mean, I'll give you a second if you want to put Auto Club first, but Jimmy, we're done with Daytona now. Let's start to talk about Michigan. I mean, we can't really say enough about it. I mean, we're already looking forward to next week. Hopefully the session's created up right, and we're just going to give one more shout out there to Shane for the little kerfuffle to start the night out here. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to Michigan. I don't care if it's 2 laps. I don't care if it's 200 laps. That thing always puts on a heck of a race.
It's time and time again here at CRN, and it doesn't matter the league. To be honest, every league that goes there, they tend to put on a great race at Michigan Auto Club. Those 2-mile tracks are in a league of their own. And you hear multiple drivers say that they enjoy racing there, whether it's their favorite or their third favorite or whatever. But the multiple lines, the ability to drive in different areas and give you options to possibly make a move to best your opponents. So, I mean, it's our favorite for a reason, and it just puts on a great show. So definitely looking forward to next week when they visit Michigan, and would definitely like to see who is going to conquer that. Looking down through the list here, though, our points leader did finish in 15th though, Carl. So the points might not be as bad as they think. So Jeremy Gill's still in the running there, and probably just obviously with the down race tonight will still probably be in the hunt. So look for that number 4 to kind of show his colors and his paint scheme to be up front next week.
Yeah, and honestly, realistically, for Jeremy Gill, this has got to feel like damn near a win, finishing in 15th. I mean, Mard back there in the back of the pack for majority of the race, pretty much seemed like he was down at least a lap just about the entire race here tonight. And to come away with a 15th, it's got to feel like major damage control. I mean, looking to be probably, maybe finish in the top 20. The fact that he finished in the top 15 is definitely a nice little bounce back at the end. I want to thank everyone out there once again for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, get you in touch with everything the Sierra has to offer. Thank you once again, pinupsforvets.com, and Joe Thomas, everything he does for the league, and as well as Shane for getting everything situated one way or another before we get this thing rolling. But for myself and Jimmy here from the beautiful Daytona International Speedway, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.